What you reading there?
Oh, this is called Kansas City Jazz.
Oh, I gotta get that.
Just brushing up. It's a Chuck Haddix book. It's pretty cool.
Ooh, I gotta get that. I love books like that.
I meant to look at it some this week, but I didn't. Sounds like that would have been good for last week's quiz. Oh, this is called Kansas City Jazz. Just brushing up. It's a Chuck Haddix book.
I love books like that.
I meant to look at it some this week, but I didn't. Sounds like that would have been good for last week's quiz. Oh, this is called Kansas City Jazz.
Hey, what's in this glass?
Hello and welcome. It's time to play Live Jazz KC online trivia game, where we test the knowledge of local jazz musicians, educators, and fans to see who's Kansas City's jazz expert. Brought to you by LiveJazzKC.com and Gladstone Dodge Chrysler Jeep and Ram. Here's your host and all-around nice guy, Herschel McWilliams.
All right, how's everybody doing tonight?
Excellent.
Cool. Let me advance this.
Oh,
There we go. So here we are on Who Is Kansas City's Jazz Expert Organist Edition. And tonight's contestants are Chris Hazelton,
hey!
Ken Lovern,
Good morning. Good morning.
and Brian Ward. All right. Without any further ado, we will go to the first question. You guys can see the slide okay?
I got it.
All right,
Ding, 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 ding.
ding.
This organist from Kansas City recorded with Grant Green, Lou Donaldson, Art Blakey, and John Zorn. Who is it? Are you guys ever have paper ready?
Ding, 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 ding.
Ding, ding, ding.
Chris Hazelton rings in first. What do you got, Chris Hazelton?
Who is Big John Patton?
Who is Big John Patton? Would be Big John Patton. Yeah. What else you know about Big John Patton there, Chris?
Born in Kansas City. Also recorded with Bobby Hutcherson, Hank Mobley, a wealth of others. I don't know. He's one of my favorites.
Right on. We try to start it off with a little bit of a Kansas City tie-in. They don't get any necessarily easier from here.
He played at the Kansas City Jazz Festival, whenever that was, 2000-ish. He came back and played. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, Donovan Bailey, rest his soul, had some great stories to tell about playing with Big John Patton. It was very interesting to hear about that.
I'll tell you what, his catalog is pretty amazing. I was diving into some of it, online as I was putting these together, and it's definitely, you can hear it, man. The guy had it all together, and he's from this wonderful place we call him. All right, let's see here.
Well, I got one thing to say about him. He wrote a tune called Funky Mama, one of his big hits. Chris has played that tune quite a bit. And he did say he did an hour-long talk at the Jazz Fest thing or something, whatever, or maybe a shorter talk. And he said, "I'll say one thing about that title. The original title was not Funky Mama, so it was Funky something else. So there's that."
Fair enough. All right, next question is: this jazz organist was born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and appeared on 72 album releases, 45 as a leader, and was married to another jazz musician.
Ding, ding, ding,
Ding,
ding,
ding, ding, ding, ding, ding, ding, ding.
All right, Ken, you're up. What do you got?
I'm going to say Shirley Scott.
Yep.
And who is she married to?
She's married to the sax player.
Stanley Turrentine.
Thank you. Mr. T. Blues for Mr. T.
Stanley Turrentine. These are too easy. I don't know what I'm doing.
She made a record with just her and Clark Terry. It's a pretty cool record.
Oh yeah.
She just had an album that was re-released that's really good, by the way, that has, I believe, Harold Vick on sax and Billy Higgins, I think, on drums.
Yeah, they play together somehow.
It's a really good album. Everybody should check that out. I think it's called One for Me.
One for me. Well, it's definitely great catalog of music for sure. And I couldn't believe when I went, I had to go through and like individually count to 72 to get all. It's like, holy smokes! And they just kept.
Well, I first thought it was maybe Jimmy Smith because he recorded so much, but then I saw Married to Another Musician, and then that was the
No,
giveaway.
that's not Jimmy Smith. I was thinking the same thing, Ken.
It was the only thing that would have really helped define who it was, right? Next one. All right, Brian, I'm counting on you. Don't let me down. This jazz organist is I'm sorry for the typo, listed as a sideman on the 1994 Beastie Boys release Ill Communication.
Ding 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 ding.
You got it, Brian?
No, I don't.
Nope.
All right, go ahead, Chris.
What you got, Chris?
Who is Jimmy Smith
Yeah.
Who
Oh,
is
okay.
on the tune Root Down?
Doop, 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 doop.
Doop do 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 doop doop do doop do do do.
I never knew that.
Jimmy Smith? Well, so
Yeah,
far
but
it's pretty easy. and
We
I
used to play
apologize.
that. We used to play that tune. Cool tune.
Next one. Another Philadelphia-born organist played tenor
Ding,
saxophone
ding, ding,
with
ding,
Jimmy
ding,
McGriff
ding,
at the age of 17 and died in Kansas City in 1999. Who is he? I know I remember this. You guys probably do. I said, Brian, you probably would have a little bit of a difficult with one, but this is it. You want to have a try at this one, Brian?
I take a guess. I'm just gonna guess. Wild guess. Charles Erlin.
You got it.
Dang.
Really?
Yes.
That's
What
it.
made you guess that? Why would you have guessed that?
Because I knew he started out on saxophone,
Okay, well, that's a pretty good guess.
but other than that,
I
and
thought
he
you
was
might
born in
say
Philly.
because he was born in Philadelphia.
I had no idea about the Kansas City connection. That's cool.
Yeah.
I can tell you what he had for his last meal.
Gates.
He had a mixed plate from Gates.
There you go.
Because Will Matthews introduced me to him that night, and he was eating in the blue room, which at that time you weren't supposed to do, but he could do it. And so I went over to meet him, and we rubbed elbows instead of shaking hands because he had Gates barbecue sauce all over his hands.
Yeah, good.
Cool story.
I remember when that happened, man. That was wild. So yep, Charles Erlin, good guess. I knew the other guys knew it, but I wanted to give you a shot there. That's good. Next one up. If Jimmy Smith was the Charlie Parker of the organ, this
Ding, ding,
musician
ding, 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 ding,
was
ding.
John Coltrane. He made his prestige debut in 1960 on record dates with the likes of John McLaughlin, Woody Shaw, and even Miles Davis. Who is he? And we'll give the floor to Ken Lovern on this one because he said it first.
Larry Young.
Mr. Larry Young is correct. Nice job.
Yeah.
Or what's his other name?
I was gonna say what's his Muslim name?
Yasuf Kati. What is it?
Ooh, I don't know
Kafi
that.
Kazid.
I think it's Qasid. It's escaping me.
I can't get it quite right. Brian for the extra points.
Khalid Yassin.
Yeah.
There it is.
Team. I never knew that.
Khalid Yassin.
I
Nice.
played on Bitches Brew.
Yeah.
Yep.
I have you ever heard that comparison made? If Jimmy Smith was a Charlie Parker, he was a John Coltrane.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Now I hadn't heard that till I did the research, but it seems fitting for sure.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Think back to the music that was playing when we were getting ready to go on live, and somebody was playing organ on Sunny, right? Any guesses who that might have been? Were you listening close enough to even pay attention to have an idea? I wouldn't expect it, but if you get it, it's worth 33,400 bonus points.
I'm gonna take a guess, and I don't think it's right.
I'm not going to be embarrassed if you get it wrong.
Is it Radam Schwartz?
No, but good guess. Good guess. Any other guesses? Before I spoil it.
Can you give us a clue?
Yeah, give us a clue.
Oh man, I gotta find the clue here real quick.
I'll guess. I'll take a guess.
All right,
Charles Kennard.
no, but another good guess. From Japan. That a good enough clue?
Ooh, Midori Ono?
Atsuko Hashimoto.
Atsuko Hashimoto. Okay.
She was killing too.
And for extra points, her Muslim name.
She's from Osaka, so we'll just say Osaka. All right. Next question. All right, so this one, don't dig in too quick if you know, but here it is. This organist studied at New England Conservatory in Boston, where he performed as a sideman with Dewey Redman, Billy Higgins, and Bob Mintzer. He also recorded with James Carter, John Schofield, and John Zorn.
Hmm.
Ken, are you digging in?
I would. I mean, I got two guesses, so I'll take one.
Pick one.
I'm gonna say well, Larry Goldings did a lot of that stuff, but I'm not sure about the New England Conservatory part. But I'll say Larry Goldings.
And he went there with Rob Sheps.
I'm gonna take a wild guess.
Take another wild guess, Brian.
John Medeski.
That was my other guess.
Bada bing. Good job.
Oh,
Board.
That was my other guess. Yeah.
that was a wild guess. I was just searching
John
hard.
Medeski. Nice. Any John Medeski stories? Anybody?
I rented an organ to him.
There you go.
Yeah, at the Jayhawk Music Festival. Like this would have been late '90s, probably '98. And those guys were super nice. It was Medeski, Martin, and Wood, and it was kind of weird because I probably only owned the organ for like a year, and I was working my job at the Kansas Court of Appeals, and my phone rings, and it's the road manager from Medeski, Martin, and Wood calling me up to rent an organ. He got a hold of me at my day job somehow.
Nice.
Those road managers are resourceful.
Oh yeah.
I met him at I was performing at Wakarusa Festival, I think in 2006 or 7. And prior to that, I'd seen Medeski, Martin, and Wood probably 4 or 5 times perform. And I had this preconceived notion that he'd be just this really spacey dude. And then like I talked to him backstage and he's like the most down to earth, like just nice guy ever.
Yeah, Rob Sheps has some good stories. He was kind of sharing, so you can see him, ask him about a couple. All right. Moving on. Next question here. We're buzzing through these. This is a good one. This keyboardist and organist, I should have put in there, was born in Brooklyn, New York, played a show at the Apollo at 6 years old, and has toured with Boyz II Men, Kenny Garrett, The Roots, and Kirk Franklin, just to name a few. Who is he?
Ding, 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 ding.
Okay, hold on one second. Who you got, Chris?
I'm going to guess James Poyser.
Any other guesses?
No clue.
Ken, you got at least a bad guess?
Well, for just the Apollo Theater thing, I would have said Billy Preston because he was a young, but he didn't make it that long to play with all those people. So no, I don't think I do.
Don't hate yourselves. The answer is Corey Henry.
Oh,
that makes sense.
I just thought he played on YouTube.
I thought he only played at the NAMM show.
He got 1 million likes.
Oh,
I will say, man, throughout the whole pandemic, he has had an incredible string of streaming live performances, like where it's just him and a drummer, or like him and a drummer and a singer.
Oh, yeah.
Like they are really, really good.
he's a
I've been
beat.
enjoying that stuff.
I asked, I don't want to embarrass him, but I'll tell you a story anyway. I asked Matt Billinger this question earlier today after he had just told me that one of his favorite keyboardist organists was Corey Henry. That's the first person he said. I asked him the question and he didn't know the answer. So don't feel too bad. Next one. Rob Sheps says his first gig in New York was with this organist in Harlem at a club called the Showman's Cafe. This organist began his career playing bass in Joe Farrell's group. Who is he?
I'll guess Jack
Rob Sheps telling me
McDuff.
as soon as he landed in town, he got a call to go play with this guy. This is his first gig in New York.
My guess is Jack McDuff.
And I would have that same guess because McDuff started as an organist, but Joe Farrell, oh my gosh, Joe Farrell's that old.
Yeah, Chris.
Yeah.
If
I
you-
only guessed that because Showman's was Jack's like home for
I
like
was
a
hoping that
decade.
I was hoping that would be enough of a clue for somebody to get it.
I didn't know
Joe
that Rob Sheps had played with him though.
Yeah.
Showman's is man, I spent a lot of time playing there when I lived in New York, and that is truly like an organ jazz place you have to go, like at least once in your life if you're into this kind of music. It's just a vibe. And it's not even really the room necessarily as much as like it's just got a very like kind of working class neighborhood vibe, and that's kind of what this music is.
For sure.
Yeah.
Have you been there, Ken?
I have not.
Brian?
No,
Now we all got homework.
yeah, we gotta get over there. Let's take a trip.
And Chris, did you say you played there?
Yeah, I played there quite a bit when I lived there.
Nice. Man, is there any recordings from those days?
I do have a couple of recordings from playing there in those days. I don't know that they're recordings I'm willing to share. I'll put it that way. But I do have to say, I have to tell a funny story about playing at Showman's. It's humbling to say the least. It was the kind of place where like you never knew who was going to walk in the door, and it was not uncommon for Lou Donaldson to pop in on your gig, or George Coleman to pop in on your gig, or any of these guys, Lonnie Smith pop in on your gig. Like, so one night I'm playing and I'm backing up this singer named Lady Cantrice, and we're doing our thing, and Grady Tate pops in, and I'm starstruck because he's one of my favorite drummers of all time, and I meet him. He's the nicest dude ever, and he asked if he can sit in, and I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna get to play with Grady Tate. And then he says, well, I want to sing. I don't want to play drums. I want to sing a tune. I'm like, okay. And he's an incredible singer. Like, I mean, he was really an incredible singer. So he starts playing, we start playing My One and Only Love, and he's just singing the most beautiful, rendition of My One and Only Love. And then we get to the bridge, and my mind went blank, and I could not remember the bridge to that tune. And he's kind of looking around at me like, you all right back there? And my face is just red, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm butchering this song behind Grady Tate. And we get through it, and he was still so gracious and so nice. And like the next day, I get a call from his manager saying that he's interested in seeing if I could go on the road with him. And I'm like, yeah, of course, I would love to. And then I didn't hear from him again. Wah wah.
Man, the story started out so good.
I know, right?
Next question, and I apologize in advance because this is rather obscure, but I feel like somebody knows this guy, so we'll just do it. Jimmy McGriff had a record called The Worm. You're familiar with that, yes?
Yeah.
Who was the tenor player on that album? And if you need a clue, the tenor player also had he had his own record. He did a great record with Grant Green and Clarence Palmer on organ. The name of the album, I'll give you the name of the album, was called Blackout.
I gotta guess something Jackson? No.
Nope.
Oh man, it's on the tip of my tongue. I know the trumpet player is Blue Mitchell.
On The Worm?
On The Worm.
Yeah. So I only say this because I hadn't seen this guy's name very much as a saxophonist myself. So I thought, man, maybe these guys know the record and they know who's on saxophone because it's interesting.
I know the Grady Tate was on the drums.
The answer is Fats Theus.
Okay.
Obscure, I know.
And he was on a number of McGriff records too.
Yeah. Yeah, see, there you go. So he was on other records. Next one. Who was the well-known organist that played keyboards with Miles Davis at the age of 17?
You got
Ding,
it,
ding, 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 ding.
Okay, Brian Ward was the first one to do this.
Joey D.
Joey D.
Yep.
Joey D is correct. Anybody got any good Joey D stories? You meet him, talk to him.
I I played piano for him when he played trumpet once at a festival.
Nice.
Yeah, he was part of this big band thing, and I was the piano player in the big band. But part of the set they didn't even plan on me playing when he was on. And he did like this blistering fast standard. I can't remember this obscure standard, but it was just like 420 beats per minute on trumpet.
Really?
And he had, I mean, tremendous cajones because in the players in the trumpet section were just monsters. This big band, but he got up there and just tore it up. And then at the rehearsal, he's like, "Man, I need some chords. I need somebody to comp for me." And so they called me up there, and so I ended up doing it. So that's my Joey D story.
That's cool. That's a good story.
I got a Joey D story. This involves Donovan Bailey. So I rented an organ to Joey D at the Blue Room, and he really liked it. He was super nice. It was Joey DiFrancesco, and that tour was Pat Martino was playing with him, and the drummer that played with him, Byron Landon. Thank you. So it's those guys, and at this point he had a keyboard he'd set up on the organ, and he'd hold these synth patches out, right? And then he'd play trumpet over them, and he'd hold these synth patches. And after a while, the synth just really started to annoy me. I really just wanted to hear him play organ, you know? And I turned, and Donovan Bailey was sitting next to me, and I said, "Donovan, if I go up to unplug that keyboard, stop me." And Donovan said, "I ain't gonna stop you." But we didn't unplug the keyboard. And I really like Joey D's new record. What is it? The Sound of the Universe or something? The Song of the Universe.
Mhm.
That's one of my favorite records of his in a long time.
Yeah,
It's
there's a YouTube video that I've been kind of obsessed with over the last few months of his trio performing 100 Ways, the what's James Ingram tune.
Find 100 Ways.
Yeah, Find 100 Ways. And man, I can't remember where they were performing in this video, but that is like a demonstration of mastery and just dirty funk. It's so incredible.
That's his latest album, you said?
No, it's just a random YouTube video of him in a trio in a club.
Nice. Oh, I ran across that one just today, as a matter of fact. I personally, the first time I heard Joey, I think I was 18 or 19. I was with Seth Lee, had the CD, and we were about 17 or 18 years old. It was live at the 5 Spot. And
Oh yeah.
which has all those incredible tenor saxophonists on it, like Houston Person and Kirk Whalum and all the cats. And but yeah, that was the first one. Now, so all of a sudden I went down that rabbit hole. And it was so, they played some burning stuff. That was the first time I heard him, thanks to Seth. Next question. This St. Louis-born organist first played piano, then switched to organ and led a trio in Kansas City with Tex Johnson and Leroy Anderson on drums before settling in Los Angeles in 1963. And all right, so I think I saw Ken make the move first. We got Ken.
Well, I didn't know a lot of that other stuff, but I'm just going to say Charles Kennard because I know he moved to LA.
Well, pretty fair guess. It's Charles Kennard. What about you, Chris? Did you know anything about the trio with those guys?
I didn't know about the trio, but yeah, I knew that it was Charles Kennard, just having known the St. Louis to Kansas City and then to LA connection.
Right.
He got a degree from KU, and kind of an early, I don't know if it was actually a music therapy degree, but he was like a super early music therapist. And he worked that job. He would work a day gig at a school and then play gigs, for like, years he did that. He worked a lot.
Next one here. Answer Charles Kennard, nice. This organist changed his name to avoid being confused with a guitarist, and had Grover Washington Jr. as a sideman before Grover became a star on his own.
Ding, 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 ding.
Who is it? Chris, what do you got?
I'm going to say Leon Spencer Jr.
Anybody else have any other guesses before I tell him he's wrong?
Got me there.
Yeah, I don't have anything with any knowledge.
The answer is Johnny Hammond Smith.
Oh, I should have known that one too. Wow.
I would have thought you guys would have all known it, but what do I know? Yeah, Johnny Hammond Smith.
So what was his name before?
Johnny Smith.
Oh, Johnny Smith. Okay.
Yeah, because the Hammond is what made
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Duh. Okay.
Okay.
I'm
And
overthinking it.
later in his life, it was just Johnny Hammond.
Yeah. 1996, Lonnie Smith made his major label debut. His major debut came on a Prestige with this tenor saxophone on his album, Red Soul. Who was the saxophonist?
Ding, 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 ding.
He was on a major label as a sideman on this saxophonist record called Red Soul. What you got, Chris?
Red Holloway.
Answer is Red Holloway, Red Soul.
Cool.
Wait a second. So that was it. So that was before he did a major label record with Lou Donaldson, huh?
It shouldn't say 1996. I think I got the
I was
date.
gonna say
Sorry about
That
the
was well.
1996 threw me way off.
Yeah. That my bad. I'll give you all points for that one. I will adjust them.
Well,
Sorry about the date typo. I know how it is.
yeah, but Chris got that. But what threw me was I thought his first band that he got recorded with was Lou Donaldson. I didn't realize he had recorded with Red Holloway before that.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. What year he would have recorded with Lou Donaldson?
It would have been right in the mid 60s. But he also is on that in they came out in 65, so it would have been before 65. He was on the record with George Benson. It's Uptown with George Benson. I thought that was his major label debut. I'll have to look into that one. Because that's blowing my mind.
This is what I found. It doesn't. So I may be wrong. So
I'm not saying you're wrong. I just had my mind blown.
All right. Next question. After serving in the United States Army, this organist later became a Philadelphia police officer for 2 years before finally pursuing his musical career.
Ding, ding, ding.
Ding, 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 ding.
All right. Brian, do you have a guess? I'm going to give you a shot at this one first.
I have no idea.
Pure
I
pity.
feel ashamed about that.
Ken, what do you got, Ken?
Jimmy McGriff.
You concur, Chris?
I concur.
He was a police officer.
Yeah. Did you know he was a police
Wow.
officer? Yeah, you probably did if you ever looked at his
I didn't
Wikipedia.
know that.
I think I read that in some liner notes and it kind of messed me up. I was like, wow, he was a cop.
Yeah. I mean, as well as a soldier.
Yeah.
And then he was in like the Conservatory of Music, I think, while he was a cop.
Okay.
Yeah. So real quick, while we talk about this in Philadelphia, what is it about Philly with the organ, and how is it? I mean, is there any explanation as to how that it seems to be the mecca of jazz organ for some reason? As I'm looking this up, I'm finding that everybody was from Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Literally, like
Everyone.
with the exception of a couple. Was there something going on in Philadelphia that lent itself to that music, other than maybe the club owners didn't want to pay a full band, they just wanted to have a trio or something? We know about that.
That's a good question.
I think that's part of it. I mean, from what I understand, like, Philadelphia's jazz scene again goes back to, it was more of like kind of a working class jazz scene. Unlike New York, which was kind of a upscale kind of thing, and of course, Jimmy Smith being from Philadelphia kind of led the charge, and everybody else was, influenced by him.
Yeah, I mean, we've already talked about how many people from Philly tonight, and
Pretty
I
much
mean,
everyone.
Ken, I mean, you probably heard a lot, all these guys from Philly. I mean, isn't it? How many can you think of off the top of your head? I mean, it's a lot more than I have fingers, probably.
Yeah,
Well-
especially that first generation, or maybe their second generation, but those guys that came out in the late 50s and early 60s, it's just like most of the big ones were from Philly.
Yeah.
And there's like a direct lineage between a lot of them, because like I know Jimmy Smith, you know, took a lot from Wild Bill Davis, but from there, like his two kind of proteges, I believe, were Groove Holmes and Jack McDuff. And Jimmy McGriff learned from Groove Holmes, and Charles Erlin learned from Jimmy McGriff. And like they're like, it's just like a family tree of Philadelphia organists.
Speaking of family trees in Oregon, I know that Kansas City's family tree of Oregon, you are certainly a part of, Chris, with your time with Everett Devan. How's he doing? You have any updates on Everett?
I haven't talked to him in a while. You know, the last time I talked to him, he's all right. You know, he's obviously not able to play, as you know, none of us are at this point. But you know, he's doing good. He still lives in Kansas City with his wife Gay, and they're just keeping on.
I mean, was there a guy with more feel in this entire city?
In this entire world.
Entire world? That's better. Yeah, I mean, and the way he would just like call a tune and then just do it in the most obscure manner that he's like, let's do it as a up-tempo samba, and it's like Body and Soul or something.
I mean, even after he had, you know, had multiple strokes and had been on dialysis for, you know, who knows how long, like, you know, he came to a gig that I was playing to sit in, and like, you know, literally had not played the organ in 2 or 3 years. He sat down and it was just like, whoa, that is a force of nature that cannot be stifled no matter how long you haven't been playing. It was incredible.
It's inside of him, no doubt, man. Next one, guys. Here's another Kansas City tie-in question. I tried to find a couple, but this one was interesting to me because I had no idea. In what is called Summit Meeting now, it's called Summit Meeting at Birdland. Charlie Parker's only known recording, that's the only one I could find proof of, with an organist, is with this organist trio, and it was recorded over 2 different times. But this particular, I'm not saying he recorded both times, but he recorded with this organist trio, and it was later released as Summit Meeting at Birdland in 1977 on Columbia Records. So, and it's the only recording I could find history of myself anywhere where Bird's playing with an organ trio. Any guesses, ideas? Ever heard it? Anybody ever heard it?
No, but I'm about to check that out after this is over.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's up with that? I've never heard of that.
Well, I'll give you the answer, then I'll see if I can't find it, and I'll try to play it for everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, my initial guess would be like Wild Bill Davis,
Right.
or like Bill Doggett, or you know, but that's
Neil Buckner.
yeah, maybe.
And both are working here on 52nd Street.
Yeah, so I think I heard it a second ago.
Milt Buckner.
Milt Buckner is the answer.
Yeah.
Just guessing by the date only.
That's the record. Charlie Parker, Summit Meeting at Birdland, Milt Buckner Trio. And so I think I'm going to see if I can share this. I'll play like a quick snippet of one of the tunes off that.
Tune it was first. Hi.
So as we can tell, it's not like maybe the highest fidelity thing, but that was an example. It's out there to be checked out. It's interesting that I was like, I asked myself, because there were certainly organ players playing before Bird was playing, doing some thing. I mean, around that same time he was playing, but you never hear him with him until I found this. What year was the Hammond organ first manufactured?
Ding, 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 ding.
You know the answer, Brian?
think so.
What you
Number
got?
two,
Give us the answer.
1935.
Anybody other any other guesses? Is that your final answer? Do you know the lifeline?
I'm going to say that's correct.
I wouldn't ever second guess Brian Ward because it's exactly correct.
You better.
Why do you know that, Brian?
I'm just sort of a kind of a Hammond buff, just a piece of trivia, actually. Yeah, but yeah, that's when they came up with the Model A, the history of it, kind of. Yeah.
This next question.
And wait, but before we go on, a bit of Kansas City trivia. The last I knew, and Ken, you can confirm, I'm sure, that serial number 2 is in Kansas City.
The second one ever produced?
The
Yeah.
second one, well, I guess probably not the second ever, because I'm sure there was a prototype, but serial number 2 is in Kansas City in the possession of Tonewheel General Hospital.
Wow.
Yeah, he got it. Rick Prevele of Tonewell General Hospital got it out of it. It was like literally stored in a barn outside of St. Louis. And the cabinet's pretty rough. He wants to restore it. But yeah, number 1's in the Smithsonian and number 2 is at Tonewell General Hospital.
Have you guys ever played one of those old ones from the 30s?
Yeah,
It's pretty rough.
they're pretty rough.
Yeah.
They're very dark.
Yeah, man.
They've changed their total properties over the years, evidently. Is there a big, now I'm asking this as a non-keyboard organist, is there a marked difference when you play one with the tone wheels versus the digital ones now they're producing? I mean, do some of those with the original design still feel really good, better? I mean, how would you compare it?
Ken is more of a purist than I am. I'll put it that way. But I will concur that nothing is like the real thing.
Yeah.
Especially if you have the real thing that's in good playing condition, sounds good, feels good. Nothing will ever beat that. That being said, as a professional musician, having a clone wheel, as they call them, and having a good one certainly eases the anxiety as far as schlepping around a 50-year-old instrument that you never know is going to work on any given day.
True story. So next,
Or you don't know, are there stairs?
Yeah, that too. I value my back.
That's always my first question. I'll get calls for gigs from things I didn't know. And that's always like, are there stairs?
funny you should mention that because I did a wedding gig with Everett one time, and it was probably back in 2009 or 10. But the first question he asked me was, "Are there stairs?" Naturally, and then he showed up with his roadie at the time, and I forget who that was, but somebody who he paid just to come take it down the stairs and take it back up the stairs. And he didn't do it. So this next question, and I'll be sharing it real quick, but I may need to do some explaining. Are you familiar with the 1975 record Lightning Smith Aphrodisia? So what is unique about the tune Flavors that features Joe Lovano, George Benson, and Lonnie Smith? And there's a drummer, I didn't know his name, sorry. What's unique about that tune? When I listened to it, I'm like, what? Okay, and it was odd, and it stood out for a very particular reason.
I could guess.
Yes.
I guess that Lonnie doesn't play organ on that tune.
No, well, he does play organ on it. But any other guesses while I switch over the slide?
I'm at a loss on that one.
Actually, what I found out listening, it's actually Impressions.
Oh yeah.
Tune Impression.
Okay.
Yeah.
By John Coltrane. Melody, everything's the same. And Joe Lovano's killing on it. Probably one of my favorite Joe Lovano recordings. Next one. This album features the following musicians as guests on the album and was recorded live. Houston Person, Kirk Whalen, Jack McDuff, Grover Washington Jr., and Illinois Jacquet.
I think you already gave this one away, right?
We talked about it earlier.
Well, we may have. So, anybody remember?
I'm gonna guess live at the 5 spot, Joey DeFrancesco.
Trying to plant the seed. Yeah. But they were all guests on it. And you've been to the 5 spot, Chris?
Nope.
Nope.
Only in my mind.
So Joey DeFrancesco live at the 5 spot is the right answer. We don't have a whole bunch more of these to go. So, what was Jimmy Smith's highest charting single on the Billboard charts?
Hmm.
Ding, 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 ding.
And Chris Hazelton, go. What's your answer?
Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf?
Any other guesses?
I would guess Got My Mojo Working.
Another great guess.
It's not it though. Okay.
This is as I looked it up on the Billboard chart history thing. His highest charting in the hot.
I got to guess the cat.
That was my second guess.
All good get, but according to the research I did, the correct answer is Walk on the Wild Side.
Oh,
That was my second guess.
Is that making sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Born in Glasgow, Missouri in 1918.
Ding, 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 ding,
ding,
ding,
ding,
ding.
ding, 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 ding.
Credited with arranging April in Paris for the Count Basie Orchestra, which ended up being a major hit. He also made several albums with Johnny Hodges. Who is he? And I'll count it down. Everyone can say the answer at once. 1, 2, 3.
Wild Bill Davis.
Wild Bill Davis. And yeah, I didn't know until doing this that he arranged April in Paris, that he was credited with arranging that for the Count Basie Orchestra.
Yeah.
He
And,
didn't make the session or he would have been on it.
Right.
Oh, is that so?
Yeah, he was sick and wasn't able to make the session.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Now, that being said, there's some incredible video footage of him performing it with the Duke Ellington Orchestra.
Yeah. That's a cool video.
A really cool video. Actually, there's multiple videos of that.
Yeah.
All of them are great.
Was he playing it on organ then?
Uh-huh.
Nice.
And tell me if I'm wrong, but he's the first guy to play, jazz organ in terms of playing organ bass. And he's the guy that figured out you could kick a pedal and help it get the bass to drive. And, he's from the middle of Missouri, right?
Yeah, Glasgow, Missouri. But where is that? I got to look that up.
It's
on a
by
map.
Marshall.
Oh, really? Well, I know where Marshall is. That's not too far from here. An hour and a half or so from here, right?
Right.
Maybe 2. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, guys, that's all the questions for tonight. So I appreciate you guys tuning in and checking it out online with Live Jazz KC, and appreciate Brian, Kevin, Chris for being a part of this. I hope it was fun for you guys. I hope everybody enjoyed it. And
Wait, here, I got a trivia question for the other two. Who is the Kansas City organist who has a deep funk legendary 45 called The Hen?
I don't know, but I'd guess Charles Kennard on that too.
Brian?
I have no idea.
Louis Chacher.
Oh yeah.
Ask Arnie Young about Louis Chacher. He's got a bajillion stories.
you played with them all. So I'm going to take us out with one of our friends here, and I appreciate everybody tuning in, and we'll see you later on, guys. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Peace, y'all.
Yeah, Everett.
Thank you.
Ever Devan. Yeah, man. That was nice to hear. For sure. Let me see. I stopped our live stream.
Thanks.